Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews. Now lately I've been getting quite a few questions on what my personal rig is like, what peripherals I have, and that's what today's video is all about. Alright, so I wanted to start with this first. This is my Logitech G27 wheel, and this is pretty much the reason I got into PC gaming, because I used to be one of those filthy peasants playing Forza Motorsport all day and all night as well, really, with my Microsoft wheel, and I wasn't quite happy with that, wanted to upgrade. And so I ended up with a G27 and played GTR2 on PC an awful lot. So as you can see, this is not exactly the standard wheel. And so this is the Sim Raceway SRW S1 wheel. It's not intended to be used for it. I'll try and get a nice shot. As you can see, this is a piece of wood that I made to attach the wheel. And then the wooden cockpit-like thing that it all sits on, that's something my grandpa made for me about 5 years ago, actually, for my birthday. But that's all pretty cool, so it's, you know, firmly attached, well, firmly enough, really. So this is what I use for racing, is the reason I got into it. I also got different pedals on there. Alright guys, so these are my Fanatic Club Sport version 2 pedals, and I bought these because I used to play with just the normal cheap stock potentiometer pedals, and when I actually did a few track days, I quickly came to the conclusion that it was nothing like the real deal. So I bought these pedals. They were quite expensive actually, but when you actually think of it, compared to high-end racing pedals, you know, they're very good value for money. As you can see, I have them rather high up because I have big feet, and they're also inverted on the plate, simply because I find it a bit easier that way, which is the beauty of these things. You can really adjust them, but sadly they do make quite an annoying squeaky noise. So you have to make sure you really lubricate them. You can't really do racing on a desk chair like that one, because, you know, with the wheels you'll just roll backwards when you brake. So I bought this car seat, which is actually a very cheap aftermarket racing seat. I highly doubt that it's actually, you know, legal to use it on the roads, because it isn't a very good one. But, you know, it looks like an alright seat, so that's pretty much why I got it. So here are my monitors. Now, I got the middle one for my 18th birthday. It's an LG Flatron E2360V. It doesn't say the V part, and so later on I just bought these side monitors, you know, cheap, second-hand. The next thing for me was my mouse. So this is the Mad Catz Rat M.M.O, because I figured I needed a lot of button, because at the time I was also playing some FPS games and my finger work wasn't really great on my keyboard. And so this is my keyboard right now. It's actually one of my more recent purchases. It's the Battlefield 3 edition of the Razer, what is it, BLACKWIDOW? I don't know if you guys can see it. It sometimes shows up through the vinyl, so I just wrapped this keyboard in an aluminum look. And I bought it because it was, again, very, very cheap at the time. But it has these orange lights which nicely fit my orange walls. So that's pretty much why I got those. These are my Audio-Technica 82000X headphones. So these are open back headphones. They're brilliant, really. They're also really, really expensive. These headphones are more expensive than my entire computer. You know, I think they're 1,300 euros. I actually want to buy it. I got them from Japan, you know, cheaply imported. But these are by far the best headphones ever, even though the way you put them on your head makes them very difficult to use with cheap headphone stands. So I probably have to get another one of those. This is actually the last peripheral I'll show. So this is just an Xbox controller, because I feel like, you know, some games you better play with a controller. That's just the way it is. Alright, and the final part. So, you know, my PC, to me the most important thing in a PC is the case it sits in. And this is a case I got from Fractal for review. It was one of the first times I got a product for review, so I was very, very happy with it. And I also like the case an awful lot, you know, with this nice Fractal logo and a nice LED on there, which I haven't plugged in because I don't like LEDs. But yeah, it just looks really, really good. And I've always been about really good looking cases. My first one was the NZXT Phantom, the original one, which at the time was a 140 euro case, and the rest of my PC was only 600 euros. So I did tend to spend an awful lot just on the case. So let's start with the insides. I've already undone these side panels. This one's actually scratched quite a bit because, you know, I don't have dedicated rigs here. So whenever I test it in this rig, and you know, I tend to swap components an awful lot. So I don't know if you guys can see my motherboard, you probably can't, but the board in there is the Asus P8Z77i Deluxe. Maybe you can get a small glimpse of it there. And I bought this board because at the time also the BitPhoenix Prodigy came out, and I just had to have that case because to me the Prodigy was, you know, the best case ever, best looking case ever. I think I went through 4 Prodigies or something, and I really liked that case, I still do. But then I got this one, which is slightly better. So yeah, that's the P8Z77i Deluxe. In there is an Intel i5 only, not an i7. I didn't have the money for that. So in there is the i5 3570K. I delit it, so you know, because I wanted my PC to be cooled properly. I delit that one, and it's running at 4.5 gigahertz. And it's cooled by this guy right here. So some of you will say, what the hell is that thing, Lawrence? So truth be told, this is a D14, which has a great mounting mechanism. My first cooler was the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro, and that's the cooler that kind of got me into doing reviews. Back then I just wrote a member review on overclocked3d.net, and that written review had 30,000 views, which is more than what I'm getting right now on my YouTube videos, but whatever. So I liked the heatsink and the mounting mechanism by Noctua, but then I also really liked Be Quiet fans. So I got a 120mm Silent Wings fan on the front and a 140 in the back, which, as you can see, is a bit crooked because I had to cut these corners off because they were hitting the GG plus VRM plate on my motherboard. So that's why that fan's in there, you know, a bit in an ugly way, but it still performs well. It's just held in with twist ties at the moment. But these fans, they just run at 7 volts, and then the case fans, those run off of this modified plate here in the back. So in the back, you have this fan controller on fractal cases, or on the front on some. So you have a high, medium and low setting. And what I decided to do was grab the high setting, the 12 volt, which I never use, just cut the cable. So now I have 5 volts, 7 volts, or no case fans running at all. And then with the 7 volts on the Be Quiet fans, you really don't hear anything. So another thing, the memory. I only have 8 gigabytes of G.Skill Ripjaw X memory. It's probably a bit too dark in there for you guys to see it. So it's the red sticks, which do not at all match the blue motherboard. Something you might see is that there's no screw in there. So my motherboard's actually held in place with zip ties because I lost the screws, and they didn't fit into the motherboard standoffs on this case anyway, so decided not to use those. Alright guys, so this is my graphics card. It's the Asus R9290X DCU2. I used to have a Gigabyte R9290, and that one broke, and then one of a friend broke, and then he returned it, got it fixed, and then it broke again, and then another friend also had his break. So yeah, with all that stuff going on, I just decided to go with an Asus R9290X. So as you can see, I decided not to put the stickers on because I didn't really think the stickers looked good. I just like this all black look, you know, with the black fans on there as well. That was all very, very cool. Alright, and so, you know, despite my OCD for cable management and everything, my own case is actually quite a mess because I have to, you know, I have to swap out these graphics cards, CPUs, motherboards a lot. I also have to switch cases a lot, so there's not really a point in, you know, spending hours and hours on cable management. So the power supply, that's a Invisible from Darkness, Be Quiet, straight power. I think it was the L8, the 680 watt modular version, which is actually a 750 watt version when it doesn't go above 40 degrees Celsius, which I hardly ever reach. Now all my fans, you know, they're run off stuff like this and of the fan controller in the back with the cut cable there. And then all there really is to this case as well is my storage. So hiding there in the bottom is my Samsung SSD, and then next to it, oh yeah, it's a 250 gigabyte 840 Pro, and then next to it are 2 Western Digital drives. So one is a 1.5 terabyte drive, the other one's a 3 terabyte drive. where I just store a lot of stuff. And then I also have a NAS, a 3 terabyte NAS downstairs for all my my storage and backups and all that sort of stuff as well. Alright then guys, so that was pretty much it for my personal rig here at Unicorn Reviews. Now, as you may have noticed, I don't have a dedicated rig to do all the testing on, which is why my own lovely Fractal case can be a bit of a mess at times, but that's okay, I guess. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, anything really, it can go right below in the comments area. Guys, thank you very, very much for watching. Like if you like the video, dislike if you dislike the video, subscribe, share this one with your friends so they can also become subscribers of Unicorn Reviews. And thank you very, very much for watching.